This economy is so horrendous, right? Because are people maxing out their credit cards because they want things they can't afford, or is it because they can't afford the things that they need anymore? We're about to look at some credit card balances that might answer that question. Stick and stay until the end. Let's dive right in.
Behind these rising credit card balances, what are people getting into debt over?
And a lot of it has to do with just everyday purchases, things like food, housing, and transportation, all of which are up for the year. And at NerdWallet, we found that 33% of Americans are leaning on their credit cards just to get through the month for certain expenses.
Do you find this being seasonal? I mean, with school coming up, the holidays around the corner, is this something that is temporary or permanent, do you think?
There's absolutely a seasonality to spending. Back to school is a notoriously expensive time of year. This year, we found that parents and other back to school shoppers are expecting to spend on average around $611 on their shopping this year. That is $130 less than last year, but it's still a high figure.
Let's say you have some credit card debt. What's some good actions going forward, a good plan of action to try and get those numbers down?
A huge first step is merely seeing where you are, especially if you have multiple debts. Look through current statements and write down how much you owe on each debt and what interest rate you're paying. And that alone can help you formulate a plan for repaying your debt, whether you focus on the highest interest rate first or the lowest balance first. It can help you stay organized and
when you have one of the worst economies, minimum wage that hasn't went up in decades, you have highest inflation, you have literally high childcare costs, an unlivable cost of living crisis. You can start to see why some people will use a credit card as a buffer or supplemental, right, until their check comes. It's basically like a second paycheck. A lot of people have a lot of bills. Food is expensive, right? Inflation right now, you can't even mention inflation. It's just people don't even want to start that type of topic right now. So people are using this to survive. I'm going to be honest with you. Some families are going to have to use it to survive, and they're going to ask questions later and use the card right now. People are using credit cards to pay bills and buy groceries. It's not because they want to spend more on their credit cards. We're not living, but we're barely surviving. I'm $17,000 in credit card debt, and I have no idea how I'm going to pay it back. Yikes. Had to drop $12,000 on car repairs last year on credit because I don't have enough to have savings, let alone an emergency expense or finance.
Just a reminder, not everyone has the income or the ability or the privilege to pay off $10, $15, $20, $25,000 of credit card debt in 6 to 12 months. I have been working on paying off $31,000 of credit card debt since 2023, and I may not even hit it this year. I mean, we'll get really close, but just know that it takes time. If it's taking you longer than you thought it would, that's fine. Like, not everyone is in that situation, and not everyone can do that. And it may take a while, but you'll get there. So slow and steady is okay, and you got this.
I remember when I had $20,000 in credit card debt, it took me literally a year and a half to pay it off. It's so crazy how you can literally rack up $5,000 in literally 30 seconds, just a swipe, and have all your things ready to check out. But it'll take you 5, 6, 7, 10 years to pay it off. And it becomes way more. So it balloons and skyrockets. Somebody said that not everybody is financially irresponsible. Life happens sometimes. That includes job loss, financial, medical emergency, student loans, and medical debt. Yeah. I'm telling you, some people are using this as an emergency expense. Like, it's crazy as hell. I can't even pay off $6,000 in credit card debt. Somebody else said, I'm in $10,000 in credit card debt and it stresses me up so much. I've been trying to pay it off, but life happens and everything is so expensive nowadays. I'm struggling with my $3,000 in debt because I'm living paycheck to paycheck. There's a paycheck to paycheck epidemic right now. And a lot of people don't even have credit card debt in their short-term goals to pay it off. People are just trying to survive right now, y'all.
So, my husband and I are $60,000 in debt. Okay.
Part of the problem. You are.
Let me explain how we got here. So in June of 2022, we had a good amount of savings and decided that our home that we've been living in for a couple years just needed some maintenance and some upgrades. See behind me, we live in like a very normal house, but there was some things like on the outside where our stucco was falling off, so we needed to have that repaired. We had our house painted, we upgraded our bathroom a little bit, and also decided to pay off my husband's private student loan because the interest is not great. And so we had plenty of savings and we decided to just drain those bad boys. We both had really stable jobs. We would be able to squirrel away some money over time and build back up our savings again. 2 weeks later, unexpectedly, I was laid off from my job. And I'm the breadwinner of our household, so it did not go well. I was unemployed for about 7 months. Thank goodness I had social media to keep us afloat for a little bit, but here's the deal. We had to put a lot of stuff on credit card to be able to keep ourselves afloat. So anything that could go on a credit card went on a credit card. And that allowed my husband's income to pay for our mortgage, our car payments, our daycare, things like that. But everything else went on a credit card. We cut back as much as we could, but there's still a lot of expenses. We finally decided to do a debt consolidation loan, and it's about $65,000. And we're gonna try and pay it off. We did a 5-year loan plan, but we're gonna try and pay it off in the next 2 years if I can finally get that OnlyFans account going.
What?
I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do
Whoa.
OnlyFans, but that's our goal. Our kids get out of daycare this year. We've spent $36,000 a year on daycare. So one of them graduates this year. The other one goes to VPK. So that'll save us a little bit of money. Our hopes are that we're able to put a lot of what we were already paying for daycare towards this loan and get it paid off sooner than planned. But your girl loves to shop, so I'm gonna have to do some shit to keep myself accountable to this. So I'm coming on the internet and telling you what my deepest, darkest secret.
When the money is good and you got money to spend, nobody ever thinks about an emergency circumstance or a job loss. So, and when that happens, we would rather use the credit card rather than to go homeless. I understand why they did that, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of things I don't understand. You are home and you are still doing childcare. There's certain things that you got to take a risk on if you really want to watch out for the debt to increase. And now you've done a debt consolidation. I hope you stop this habit though of the credit card still being used, because you mentioned you like to go shopping. I hope you can fight your desires and urges, because you just consolidated the debt at 65,000. Now you cannot go and spend more on the credit card debt, because then it would beat the purpose of you consolidating the debt. You know what I mean? It's just about habits. And the thing is, I don't like to tell people how to spend their money, but a lot of things could have been on the back burner, right? Especially with the renovations. If it's a maintenance situation and it's a repair and you need AC or heat, or it's something with the furnace, I understand. But if it's just desires of trying to make the kitchen look a little bit better and doing that, I think that could take a back seat, because that is not fun. That is just a destruction waiting to happen. $65,000 in 7 months you spent is insane. Somebody told her, live within your means. I say that with love. So I don't think he's hating. I just think he's just trying to tell you, if you have $65,000 in credit card debt, one of you is unhappy or both of you are unhappy. I think that really makes anybody unhappy. I get it. Our AC went out. The engine went out of our car. Our son needed surgery, and the anesthesia wasn't covered, and our youngest had an asthma attack that required a hospital stay in 9 days. That is a lot. Oh my God. We were $35,000 in credit card debt, and it took us 3 years to pay it off. Best feeling ever. But the student's loan now, eventually they will be paid off, but it will take forever. Girl, between our businesses and credit card debts, we are at like 500K. That's not a credit card debt, sweetheart. That is a second mortgage. Stop it. Wow. 500 racks?
Hi there, I'm 32 with 5-figure credit card debt. I took a month-long European vacation a month and a half ago, and then when I came back, I quit my job with no plan. Gabby, why did you quit your job? Can't really talk about it, but like I had to. I had to get out of there. Anyway, I wanna let you know what I've been doing to survive. I've done pretty good, so I'm gonna tell you what I did. First of all, I compartmentalized the debt. Once my credit gets a little bit better, I'm gonna do one of those like consolidation situations, and I know it's gonna be fine. I know it's gonna be taken care of. I'm just paying my credit cards off the way that I normally would. Then took inventory around my house of what furniture did I hate, and I put that on Facebook Marketplace. I mean, today I made $200 off of a magazine rack that I really didn't give out. Facebook Marketplace is like the quickest money. Then I took a picture of every single item of clothing that I haven't worn in a year. I put it on eBay because that is the easiest platform, I think, to list something. Then I signed up for a cross-listing platform called Nifty, which also lists it to Poshmark. Everybody gets put in tight spots sometimes. That's just where I'm sitting right now, and I'm not gonna let it bring me down. If anything, it's gonna make me funnier and more creative, and I'm gonna look back on this time and be like, I survived that. So if you're struggling, you're not alone. Sell your shit. You don't need it. It'll get you through to the next phase, and you can got this.
I'm in $620,000 of debt. 21,000 of that is my credit card, and this is how I got into that much credit card debt. I'm Lauren. I've been practicing as a PA now for the last 2 years, and when I first graduated PA school, I had about $15,000 in debt just from credit cards. And trying to survive in PA school, I mean, I couldn't have a job. I was able to pay that off rather quickly because I just really went all into that. So I know how to do it. I'm gonna have to do it again. I went to this amount of debt for 2 reasons. 16,000 of that is covering my wedding and my honeymoon. 6,000 of that is because of overspending at Costco. Don't really overspend in any other category. I don't like Costco. It's kind of frustrating because what I get at Costco is just healthy food. Like none of that's furniture, none of that is unnecessary house products that I don't need or already have. It's just healthy food. How do I backtrack my healthy eating? What do I compromise and do eat that is not the best for me? Cost of groceries, man.
So these two girls are example of them not even trying, right? Because it's just basically lifestyle inflation. Like it was just basically lifestyle spending. What do you mean you went to Europe, came back, and quit your job with no plan? That's irresponsible as hell. And then now you consolidated the debt, which then gives your brain this mentality where you think you can just now, you know what I'm saying? Like you got a cheat code. Spending has to stop. The mentality has to change. If you want to get out of credit card debt, you have to do that. The second girl, 6K just for Costco, for healthy food. I don't think Costco is that good. And I don't think any food is that good for me to just be in credit card debt of $6,000.
I haven't been using my credit cards for a while. I mean, I do use them and then I pay them off, but before it was just like swipe, 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 swipe on the cards. And now I don't anymore. And I don't eat out. I don't shop. I don't do any of that. And I feel like I'm not seeing much of a difference. The credit cards aren't going down. The money isn't still in my account. So I'm kind of confused. Now I don't get to go eat out and I don't get to shop. So what? And I'm still sad. I'm still paying off this debt. I don't understand. Why aren't we making more progress? I don't know. Sometimes I feel so discouraged because I'm like, there's no progress to be made. But I am making progress every month. Like it's definitely going down every month, but it's just, I don't know. I feel like it's not going down enough. I need somebody to gift me money. And I would never be that person that puts my Venmo in my bio and says, go send me money. What? No. I mean, I would, but I wouldn't. You know what I mean?
You're going to do that.
Damn, I need money. Okay.
My thing is, right, is that you want to. It's okay, right? If you want to do it, just find a creative way to do it. When people say that, they've already thought about like an execution to put that to place, to put that to reality, right? You want to spend, you still want to go out to eat and shop, and you're wondering why the credit cards are not coming down. It takes a second for you to run through these credit cards, and it takes you years to pay them off. That's the reason why credit card debt is just so sad to be in. And that's why everybody right now, all these videos that we're ran to, debt is not good. It's just you want to spend, but it's a tough situation to be in.
Before I start my DoorDash today, I just wanted to take a moment to recognize that the biggest thing for me to pay off my credit card debt is for me to be consistent, which means not going too hard and burning out before I reach my goal. The last 2 weeks I've made about $240 each week. Good. And I did it 4 days after work each week. This week I'm gonna do 3 days, and 3 days might work better just because I have not had time to go to the gym or do anything else besides work my full-time job and DoorDash, and I fear of burning out. I have a long ways to go to pay off this debt, so I want to make sure that I'm living my life and taking steps forward, but just not missing out too much, specifically like working out and planning things. Because I feel like that is a little bit of an issue. So going in with a sustainable mindset and slowly chipping away at that debt, and I will get there eventually.
This lady seems sweet. I'm praying for her. I think she's very accountable. And it is true, right? You have to be very consistent, but you also have to be very mindful of not trying to crash out. She has $15,000 in debt. I was in $20,000 in debt. She has less than I did. So $15,000, you just have to put a time frame on it, a year and a half. Do not use the credit card debt. Tackle it heavy. One thing that worked for me was doing the snowball method, because it gives you confidence. If you can knock down the little ones, then it gives you confidence to knock down the big ones, right? And sometimes you can call your credit card and tell them, hey, like, if you can freeze the interest for a little bit because I'm going through some sort of a job loss or something like that. But they can work with you. You just got to have the strength and the confidence to give them a call. I know it's scary, but it is true. I do agree with that. You have to literally slow down, put a time frame on it, and then tackle it that way. You're not going to conquer this in 1 day or 1 month or like 6 months. If you make high income, go ahead. But some people are door dashing to do this, and she made $240 a week. I think she could do it. I'm a fan, and I think I'm rooting for her. I think she has a great heart, and I honestly want her to tackle that. Because credit card debt is not easy and it's not fun. It just makes you work harder for things that literally didn't mean much. You know what I'm saying? But everybody has their own reasons for being in credit card debt.
Let me tell you how much credit card debt we have as a 36-year-old. Because, honey, if there's one thing I know, people want to know how much money you make, but they want to know even more how much money you owe. I'm nosy just like you, so there's literally no shade here. But I like to share financial transparency in hopes that it just makes people not feel so alone. I don't know. I feel like debt for a lot of people is embarrassing and shameful. Like they feel that. And I feel like our society has made people feel that way. And I don't feel that way anymore. I used to feel like that when I was younger. I really don't feel like that anymore. And if nothing more, this might actually make you feel better about your situation because the number I'm about to tell you is pretty high. So between my husband and I, across 4 credit cards, and mind you, these credit cards are not accruing any interest right now. They are interest free for the next year to 2 years. We have $40,921 in credit card debt. And this amount of money really was only accrued over the past 10 months or so. We came into our 30s with about $25,000 to $30,000 in credit card debt. And we had a plan that we wanted to try and pay that off. And we did. About 3 years or so ago in 2023, we finally had no credit card debt. And we were like, we locked all the credit cards. We're like, we are not using credit cards anymore. We don't want to get into that, cycle of using the credit cards and then interest is accruing and it's snowballing. And that's where it can really get so big when you can't pay it off, month over month. So we were like, we're not doing that. But last summer we sold our first house and we bought a new house. And when we were renovating, because we were going to do a lot of renovations on this house, even though we had a lot of liquid cash on hand, we were using credit cards and then we would just pay them off every month. And we used the credit cards because we got $200 when we opened the account. We were getting 6% back on home renovations. So we would just use the credit card and then pay it off. But there's a lot of stuff that we wanted to do and we wanted to get it done really within this first year. And so, credit card debt has just accumulated and I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel embarrassed about it. I don't feel any shame about it. Most people have debt. Millionaires and billionaires have debt. So if they have debt, I can certainly have some debt. And our goal is to pay it off by the end of this year. And if this were me like 10 years ago, I probably would have been panicking, but I know we've gotten out of debt before. So I know we can get out of it again. There are so many ways that you can become debt free. Sometimes it just takes a long time and that's totally okay too. But I'm not going to not live my life and do things that I want, that we want, that my family wants to do because I'm afraid to have some credit card debt. It's just unrealistic and that's not living a life to me. You need money to live. And if that means that I'm going to have some credit card debt, then so be it.
A lot of things she said were like ringing alarm bells, right? Because this mentality of we've paid it off in the past and we could do it again is a very slippery slope because you're going to be in debt cycles for a very, very long time. And then she mentioned that because it's not on interest, that they're going to rely on it heavy, even though they're $40,000 in credit card debt, even though they paid off $25,000, right, coming into this year. So at the end of the day, that mentality of there's no interest on it is really going to grab you by the freaking face and toss you to the ground. Like you got to stop playing that, right? That game of like consolidation. Because I know a lot of people were mentioning consolidating the debt. If your habit doesn't change, then you're stuck in this debt cycles. Another thing she mentioned that's very scary is that she said that billionaires and millionaires are in debt. The big difference is they make a lot of money already. So they don't use their money. They just go to the bank, use that as a leverage, right? So they could get into debt because you can't tax debt. You are being taxed because you're a W-2 employee and you work for somebody. They're not the same, right? They get to keep their money and use that money to make more money. You're not doing that. You're basically using debt to renovate your house. And if your habit doesn't change, nothing changes. If nothing changes, nothing changes. That's my biggest thing, right? Credit card is not fun. I was in $20,000 in credit card debt. I'm not touching these credit card debts. Like I literally have a card for $500 max, and that's what I use. My big cards that are $6,000, $7,000, I don't touch them. But today we learned that a lot of people are in credit card debt, right? Credit card debt in this country is at 1.2 or $1.5 trillion. People are swimming in credit card debt. People literally cannot survive. They're in survival mode trying to pay it off. Some people have to do gig work like you've seen. I hope this video that I made today brings a mentality that, you should try to get out of credit card debt. Please comment down below how much credit card debt you were in or are you in, and if you paid it off or how's your plan of paying it off. But I'm going to end the video here, guys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Be good, do good. Peace.